could be 5 or 6. But are we seeing soy and corn put into products that they don't really need to be there? It doesn't make the product better?
Well, it's a food, and they raise it, and part of the reason raise it for that purpose inexpensively in this country, and part of the reason that these tropical oils like coconut oil, which I believe is one of the most healthy foods on the planet, was vilified so many years, is because we don't, essentially, except for Hawaii, we don't grow it in the United States. So these tropical oils were vilified, and this strong emphasis towards substituting these locally or domestically grown vegetable oils like corn and soy were used to replace them, and that's what and they're very high in omega-6 fats, let alone the other intrinsic hormonal challenges that they have.
Dr. Mercola, in about 10 seconds, could you give us some alternatives to soy for people who really need protein in their diet?
Well, I believe sources of high-quality animal foods and eggs and butter and cheeses would be a very good substitute.
Well, that falls into Patty's diet. That's for sure.
That works for me.
Dr. Joseph Mercola, you can find more information at mercola.com, MERCOLA. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
It will be a while before we see the labeling of genetically modified foods, but that doesn't mean you can't be a smart shopper and head to the store armed with knowledge. Our California Love website has a list of local companies producing food right here in California that are GMO-free and, in most cases, organic too. Head to CA, as in California, LUV, as in shorthand for love.com. It's that easy to find our list of local companies with your health in mind. You can also find this list on our Apple and Android smartphone and tablet apps, which are absolutely free in the App Store. Simply search Eat, Drink, Explore and download it to your device. Our California Love website also contains a vegetable and fruit chart so you can more easily buy local produce that's in season. Also, fresh and local recipes from the farmers market. Head there, check it out right now. CALUV.com.
Hello, this is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and I want to tell you about my new favorite discovery, Yosemite National Park. I recently went there with my husband and children, and we walked the trails to see the breathtaking waterfalls, admired the grand meadows, and giant sequoias. But the future of our national parks is uncertain. Many challenges face our parks today, from polluted air and water to development threats outside their borders and inadequate funding to protect our national heritage. That's why the National Parks Conservation Association recently completed a decade-long assessment of the challenges facing our national parks, along with proposed actions that will ensure our children and grandchildren will be able to enjoy the parks as we have. Our national parks have inspired Americans for nearly 100 years. As we approach the centennial of the National Park Service in 2016, please join us in helping to protect our national park legacy. Find out how at www.mpca.org.
What if it wasn't always about getting ahead? What if you didn't care about being on the fast track? What if your career goals were to change? Instead of flying off to the big interview, what if you flew somewhere else altogether? To embark on a different track, to volunteer in ways you never dreamed of, in places you never imagined yourself being. Like a tiny island in the Pacific, barely visible on a map, but where needs are easy to see. Or a village on the African continent, where just a little training in HIV awareness can change the fate of thousands. What if you decided to share your skills with others and help someone else get ahead? Peace Corps. Life is calling. How far will you go? To find out more, call 800-424-8580 or visit peacecorps.gov.
For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat Drink Explore Media, your lifestyle information source. Good morning, everyone. Good Sunday morning. Hope your day is off to a fantastic start. Mine is. Patty Pyburns is. We started
indeed.
A little chilly, but the office is getting nice and toasty with the lights we have on in here and that sort of thing. Hope your morning isn't too cold. So I was born and raised in Marin County, California, which is just over the Golden Gate Bridge for people that don't know. And I love that county. It's a wonderful, so beautiful. I wish I could afford to live there. It's a little expensive, but I also managed a restaurant in Marin County, the Marin Brewing Company. And, you know, it's sad. I've managed many different restaurants, and I can tell you that a lot of food is thrown away. You know, people that, for various reasons, people don't finish what's on their plate is probably
Portions
the
are big.
Portions are big. And then when food reaches a certain point, you have to throw it out for health violations.
There's some definite strict rules you have to follow.
And in some cases, the food is still perfectly good, but like you said, the rules, you know, so that nobody does get sick. And then bread is a really big one because bread in a restaurant setting, at home, you can, you know, get by with your bread sitting around a while. For restaurants, it needs to be, that
hot,
day.
fresh.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so a lot of bread gets tossed as well. Now, there are food kitchens that do get some of this leftover product, but a huge portion of it ends up in our waste.
Goes in the garbage.
In our landfills is what I was trying to say. So Marin Sanitary has a new, they're in charge of pretty much every spot in Marin except Novato, I believe. And they've come up with this plan. It's still in the project phase to take industrial food waste, restaurant food waste, and turn it into electricity. Now, to me, that just seems brilliant because there's nowhere in the United States is there a community that is void of restaurant food waste.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
And
Good point.
And on the same note, nowhere is there a place that doesn't need electricity, you know? So this just seems like such a great marriage.
Right.
Well, Chance Shelley joins us this morning. He is with AmeriCorps and is working on this project directly with Marin Sanitary and can give us a little insight into how this whole thing works. Chance, welcome to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, first of all, how did you get involved with this project?
I work with AmeriCorps, and it's actually a branch of AmeriCorps called Climate Corps Bay Area. And so one of the projects that I was contracted out with the city of Santa Fe was the Marin Sanitary Food Energy Project. And the reason why they put me on this is because Santa Fe has a zero waste by 2025 goal. Oh. And so they figured if I worked for Marin Sanitary, I can help them achieve that goal.
Well, sounds like a lofty goal. I love it.
Sounds like a good plan.
Right. How far along are they in this project?
Right now, they've got all the permitting done, and they're actually going around to all the different municipalities in the Marin Sanitary's jurisdiction and just presenting it to their town councils and just trying to secure the funding for the rate increases that are going to have to be accompanied to pay for this project.
Increases. There we go.
The construction at CMSA, which is the Central Marin Sanitary Agency, should be done around January.
Oh.
And then they hope to get it up by mid-time next year.
So with the rate increases over the long haul, will it ultimately lead to savings since you're producing electricity out of waste? Is that the idea in the long run?
Yeah, that's what we hope to do. Initially, it won't be a cost saving for everybody, but once the program gets up to full scale, they should actually be able to sell some excess energy back to the grid and hopefully compensate for it.
Now, Chance, what's the technology behind this? How does this work? And does it matter what type of food it is, or if it's just food, it works?
Yeah, it's called anaerobic digestion. So it's essentially the digestion of food waste in an oxygen-free environment.
Anaerobic. Okay, anaerobic digestion.
Right. So what they do is they take the pre-consumer food waste and mix it in with the biosolids at the sewage treatment plant. And they let it digest, and they take the methane gas that's emitted from it and run it through a generator like you have at home and produce power that way.
And essentially, that's what happens at the landfills when all of the food and waste gets pushed under all those mounds of dirt and stuff. I remember the Shoreline Amphitheater I think that's in Mountain View, had problems with methane because it's actually built on top of a former waste dump, and they had problems with, back then you could smoke in public and people would light their cigarettes and put it down near the ground, and methane gas leaking up would catch fire,
would ignite
and that sort of thing. But in this case, they're doing it in a controlled environment where they can take that methane and then use it for fuel.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, most landfills, they can either capture the methane, they can put a tarp over it, or they just flare it off. But this is a much more controlled environment, like you said, and they can definitely utilize the methane much more than they can just trying to capture it off the landfill.
Chance, I grew up in Novato, and I remember driving past the Novato dumps, and to this day I still drive past there on a regular basis, and I see them flaring off the methane, and for decades I've thought to myself, well, that's a waste. That's a waste. If they're able to create that flame, can't that be turned to energy
Harness it
somehow?
For something else. Santa Maria, the Marion Medical Center there has a cogen plant where they're getting methane from the landfill and using it to power part of the hospital. Yeah, so these are great ideas.
These are great ideas. Are there any other ideas in the works that you're a part of there in Marin or San Rafael to become a zero waste community?
Yeah, actually we have a residential composting program that we implemented, I think it was about 3 years ago. But we're going over an analysis of the program, and we're trying to increase participation rates. So what it is people can just take their food waste from the kitchen scraps and put it in their yard waste container. So that way it's diverted from the landfill, and it can be taken to be composted. So.
Chance, did you hear about in the news this week the country of Sweden ran out of garbage and they're now importing garbage for their power plants?
Yeah, actually, because they use theirs and they incinerate it and burn that as a fuel. So
they've become a zero waste community.
So they're importing garbage,
right? Because the people of Sweden are so good about reusing, recycling, all those sorts of things that they've gotten to the point where they don't have enough garbage to run the power plants. So then they turned to Norway and said, "Hey, you guys, come on, help us out.
Give us your trash.
Give us your trash." But Norway is like just behind them when it comes to how that all works. So from what I understand, they're bringing some up from Britain and as far away as where did they say? Now I don't have the story in front of me, but they're actually shipping it there. And then I thought, at some point, if you ship it far enough, now you're
are you outdoing the benefit?
Right, outdoing the benefit. So. Chance, I just think that this is so fantastic, and I love that Marin's doing it. What are the possibilities that other communities here in California can well, first of all, are there any other communities in California will Marin be the first to do this?
No, there's one facility in the East Bay. It's called East Bay Mud, and they have a facility there that they have anaerobic digesters. And the city of San Rafael sends all of their food waste to this place, and also municipalities in Contra County and Costa County, and a few other places all in the East Bay. And that was actually the first anaerobic food waste anaerobic digester in the country.
Oh,
and
I didn't know that.
There's one in San Jose being constructed too with Zenker.
Good.
And that one should be a large scale. I think they want to get up to like 400 megawatts or something like that.
Well, they've got the people to do it. I mean, San Jose is close to 1 million people, so that makes sense.
It definitely have plenty. A large source. The one thing that makes the Marin Sanitary different, though, is we're actually partnering with CMSA. That way, our costs are down because CMSA has actually had anaerobic digesters since about 1985. So our initial capital costs are going to be much lower than these other places. We don't have to actually build the anaerobic digesters.
Yeah, and I imagine as more communities do this and the technology takes off, the cost continues to come down, and since so much more information is
sharing
out there,
what's working and best practices.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
I think MUD, East Bay MUD, stands for Municipal Utilities District.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I always thought that was a funny name.
Yeah.
Growing up, East Bay MUD. Well, that sounds fantastic, Chance, and I wish you and Marin Sanitary the best of luck in keeping this going, and we'll have to catch back up with you maybe in a year or so to see where it all stands.
All right, sounds great. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem, and that's cool to know that AmeriCorps
is doing this,
is doing things like that as well. Chance Shelley with AmeriCorps and Marin Sanitary, thanks for joining us. All right, so Patty Pyburn.
Yes.
Well, we try to recycle all the trash that we. I've been.
You're a big recycler, and you go way back.
I do. You know what? I'm originally Cal Poly. I was a Cal Poly student back in the late 80s, and I lived in this complex that was sort of like a Melrose Place. It was like this little U-shaped apartment complex, and I noticed that a lot of the people living in the complex were not recycling. So
beer cans?
Primarily beer cans and beer bottles. Rarely a wine bottle to be found back in the late 80s there. But nowadays you'd find a lot more wine bottles, I think.
I think you're probably right, yes.
When it comes to college students. At any rate, I told the people, if you're not going to recycle those bottles and cans, can you just put them out in front of your door and I'll come by and
you would do it, yeah,
and collect them for you. And then what I did was I had a little, remember the Chevy Love truck?
Yes.
I had a Chevy Love truck, and I would fill up the back of that thing with beer cans and bottles from all of the people there, and bring it down to, there was a collection spot, I think it was on South Higuera if I remember correctly, and get cash for that. Well, over the course of a quarter or so, I had enough money to buy a keg of beer. And so I threw a recycled beer party, and then that really got their attention. They're like, wait a minute.
Beer cans lead to more beer?
Maybe I should be recycling. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. I'm your host, Randall White. We're back in just a couple of minutes with holiday travel trends. It will be a while before we see the labeling of genetically modified foods, but that doesn't mean you can't be a smart shopper and head to the store armed with knowledge. Our California Love website has a list of local companies producing food right here in California that are GMO-free and, in most cases, organic too. Head to CA, as in California, LUV, as in shorthand for love.com. It's that easy to find our list of local companies with your health in mind. You can also find this list on our Apple and Android smartphone and tablet apps, which are absolutely free in the App Store. Simply search Eat, Drink, Explore and download it to your device. Our California Love website also contains a vegetable and fruit chart so you can more easily buy local produce that's in season. Also, fresh and local recipes from the farmers market. Head there, check it out right now. CALUV.com.
What do your status updates say? You're learning a new language? Going all organic? Instead of typing your feelings, what if you could put them into action? By creating a network to help keep kids off the streets in a country like Armenia or in Honduras, bringing IT into the classroom, or on a farm in Tanzania, helping stem the world's food crisis by creating a sustainable agricultural program. What if every ounce of your being helped update the status of a person, and in turn they did the same for you? Would this be enough social interaction? Or is this only the beginning of something larger? Life is calling. How far will you go? Peace Corps. Get interactive at peacecorps.gov/game.
Seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
Across the nation, people are stepping up for their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the 6th leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat Drink Explore Media, your lifestyle information source.
You waited all week, and it's finally here. The Eat, Drink, Explore Weekly Travel Deals Extravaganza.
8:49 now the time on this Veterans Day, November the 11th. Great to have you joining us here on Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. I am your host, Randall White, joined by the lovely and talented Patty Pyburn. Good morning, Patty.
Good morning.
And I want to say a shout out to... I want to make sure I get all this right. Ryan Bailey with Resorts and Lodges was supposed to join us this morning, but he has not
feeling well.
Ryan's not just sick; his wife and their child,
the whole family.
And that happens, often.
Yes,
poor guy has come down with a really bad case of the flu and cannot join us this morning. But I highly recommend their website, Resorts and Lodges. Just right across the board, no spaces or anything.com. They always have really great information there, and they do feature a number of California properties that you may not have seen in the past, or they're not the name brands that you see, and that's what I like.
But cool stuff.
Really cool stuff. But we were very fortunate. Late last night, when I got that call, I put a call out to our friend, Brant Myers, a travel expert locally here, who always has, he's joined us from time to time here in studio to give us some tips. And I thought, well, we're heading into the big, giant holiday season. And so Brant Myers joins us in studio. Hello, Brant.
Good morning, Randall.
And he woke up 9 minutes ago, so we'll give him... we'll give him a little bit of leeway if there's a pause when we ask him a question. But now, Patty had a news story earlier this morning about how airline seats, it'll be jammed on planes this coming Thanksgiving because the airlines, with the high fuel costs, are really trying to pre-guess.
They don't want any empty seats.
No empty seats. So the number of flights offered will match the demand to the point where it's just all full planes.
That's a trend we've been seeing in the past few years, and it's definitely ramping up. They are cutting inefficiencies everywhere possible. You're going to see a lot more flight delays. You're going to see a lot more bumped flights, less options. If you want to fly from here to there, you're going to be looking at a 3-hour layover because there's just not as many flights. They're trying to run a really tight schedule. And when airlines run tight schedules, it means there's delays. It means there's bumps. It's going to be pretty hectic for travelers, but they're doing what they have to do. And unfortunately, those gas prices are just going to keep rising. So you're going to be seeing this trend throughout the holiday season. Absolutely.
So maybe take the train.
Travelers beware.
Travelers beware. Like they say, plenty of time. Arrive at the airport early. Make sure you check in online so you have that seat reserved. Even if you have a flight, make sure you reserve a seat. Getting that seat reservation on the plane is actually more important than you think. It's not just location. It's ensuring that you're on that plane.
I've often wondered because, on many of the different travel websites, you can pick your seat or through a travel agent. You could say, the travel agent would ask you, where do you want to sit? And, of course, the people that are professional flyers are way out in front of everyone else, and they get those prime, those prime seats.
Yeah.
I've noticed that a number of different airlines now are charging on a scale based on how prime those seats actually are. For a long time, you could just pick the seat, but now if it's that seat with the extra legroom and all that sort of thing, you pay
let's start out with a premium economy, and you could pay $30, $40, $60, $70 based on that. And now it's if you want an aisle seat, if you want a window seat, if you want to be close to the cabin, pretty much unless you're in the back by the bathrooms and the engines, you're going to be paying for any decent seat out there now. They're charging for everything possible. They're trying to make up what they can and trying to get those profits up. So it really boils down to us. They're giving us really cheap tickets, which draws the people in, and then they're just charging whatever they can on top of it. And so there's little hidden fees that really add up. So make sure you look at all the factors when you're buying a ticket, not just the base price.
So you know what you're getting into. And then, Randall, what you were saying, think of some alternatives if you're concerned about getting where you're going. Think what your options are. Perhaps the train is a better alternative.
I tend to think so, right? Now, we're looking at a jump of about 150,000 nationwide. That's not all that much, but 150,000 more travelers than flight travelers anyway than last year. What about hotels? Are they still seeing sort of a downturn, and maybe you can get a good room deal?
Yeah, absolutely. Hotels definitely don't have the problems that airlines are having. A lot of hotels were built recently. They're still being built. So there's a lot of vacancies there, and there's a lot of options. So people always have, and like you said, you don't have to go with the name brands. Just do a little search and do your homework, and you might find a great hotel at a great price, high star rating, very comfortable, but you just might not know the name of it.
And you can reduce the number of planes that are in the air. The number of hotels is it's
Right,
constant.
yeah,
Like they can't change it on Thanksgiving Day. Oh, well, we'll remove 3 of the hotels and then we'll have full rooms. You can't do that.
No, we're having family and they're staying with us in our house. Do these holidays lend themselves, Christmas and Thanksgiving, do they lend themselves more to people staying in their family's home rather than a hotel?
Well, that's, I think, just another trend as well. A lot of people are trying to cut down on traveling costs. It's becoming more and more prohibitively expensive. So anything you can do to cut down on that cost, like staying with family or friends, you're seeing that happen a lot more and more. People are getting more creative. Even though most people don't want to be with their family that whole Thanksgiving, get a little tense,
But when it comes to saving a little money.
Exactly. And you think about it, it's easy $100, $200 a night that you could be saving and be spending on something else.
Right. And then you wake up in the morning, you got breakfast and coffee in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
We're breaking out the air mattress.
Leftover turkey sandwiches. That's what it's all about.
Now, Brant, you are not just a travel expert. You have a couple of other things that you're working on currently. I want to hear about your work with the city of San Luis Obispo with, now, did I understand you correctly, a beer improvement district?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't think of a better way to improve a city than having a beer improvement district.
Neither can I. Other than travel, my second passion is beer. And, I've got a product that's, a refrigerated draft beer system. So I'm pretty tightly tied with a lot of the breweries, and we have quite a few breweries. San Francisco is being well known for it. San Diego is well known for it. And even LA is coming up in their own right. But we're right between there in this prime location. And what we're finding is that we have a lot of breweries that can stand alone. Obviously, Firestone's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. But then you've got, Tap It, and you've got these mid-sized breweries that are kind of popping up, as well as our beautiful local boutique breweries, Creekside and Central Coast Brewing, one of my favorites. So what we're really trying to do is to get a concentrated effort to, get people into the San Luis Obispo County and be able to explore the variety instead of just kind of passing through on your way to LA or San Francisco and stopping by and maybe going, oh, I heard about this brewery, let's have a beer, actually making it a destination. So what this would do is essentially create a nonprofit organization that would promote San Luis Obispo County as a beer tourism area. So
similar to the way like that the California wineries all get together,
exactly,
or
the
the Paso wine, or whatever wine district you might be.
You've heard these for wine, you've heard these for business, for tourism. This is just going to be the world's first beer tourism improvement district.
It'd be the first, huh?
Absolutely. So it's very, very early in the stages, but again, like I said, all it does is really promote San Luis Obispo County's beer, and the more it's promoted, the bigger it becomes, the better the beer is, the more it works out for us.
Right.
And the more beer, the better.
That's fascinating.
It sounds great.
All right, let's talk about this game that you have. It is, just going to find the link here. Well, you know it better than me.
Yeah, I can tell
drink in the letter N game, drinkingame.com.
Yeah.
It looks like the like the asteroids or the Space Invaders type of things that I used to work with as a kid, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
But it has a beer tap on the side of it.
Absolutely. The product name is called the Arcade, and it's a portmanteau, which brings arcade and kegerator together.
There you go.
It's pretty clever. Takes a few drinks to think of those things. But so what it is it's exactly what you said. You relive all those classic games. It's got the ones that you can pick up and put down. You can play with your friends that we all grew up in, whether you're at a pizza party or whatever. So we're really enjoying it, and you can play a lot of those games and put in draft beer. So it has a refrigerated kegerator in it. So, it's exactly what you want to do. You want to hang out with some friends, play a few games, have some cold beer.
That's good, Brent.
It's a really cool product.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a link to it online. You can check it out. It's pretty funny, I think. And I think it'll be successful, too. Thanks for joining us so last minute. We really appreciate it.
Of course.
And we'll check in with you and find out how that beer drinking game and the Improvement District is coming along. Full hour remaining. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
Very good Sunday morning, Veterans Day on this November the 11th. I am your host, Randall White, joined by the lovely, talented Patty Piper.
You know, you always get to introduce me. I never get to introduce you the way the structure goes. And so there's this little part in the script that we never get to that says, we're going back to the best host any radio program has ever seen. Our very own Randall White. There, and finally.
And I wrote that in.
I know. Who writes this stuff?
Good morning, everyone. Great to have you with us. We do want to mention that this hour of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio is brought to you by the lovely, talented folks at Eberly Winery in Paso Robles. They are open daily. That would include today, Veterans Day, from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. with complimentary wine tasting and cave tours. Eberly voted by Wine Spectator as one of the best tours on the entire Central Coast. So, you know, you're looking at, hundreds of wineries now. It truly is.
Yes.
Hundreds of wineries. That's not an exaggeration. You have to narrow it down somehow, right? So why not go to a place that was voted one of the best? Eberly Winery on 46 East in Paso Robles. Find out more information, including how to contact them and all the details at Eberle Winery, EBERLE, winery.com. All right, so there's a new kid in town in San Luis Obispo, and a very good morning, by the way, to all of our Crush listeners, 92.5 FM. The new kid in town is on Morrow Street in downtown San Luis Obispo, just off of Higuera, between Marsh and Higuera, and it is called Granada Hotel and Bistro. And I guess calling it a new kid in town isn't exactly right, because Granada Hotel has been there for a very long time. It's a historic building that has been revamped, I think, to the tune of like, I don't know, $3 or $5 million. They spent a lot of money revamping this place.
Wow.
17 rooms now. It's a boutique hotel, which San Luis Obispo does have Petit Soleil up the road on Monterey, but in the downtown core, it did not have a boutique hotel like this, and now they do, which I think is fantastic, with a connected restaurant that if you went to Granada Bistro in the past, it was just kind of a, you get wine and maybe some sandwiches. Well, they've really expanded their menu. Their bar is huge and beautiful.
Wow.
They have outdoor seating, and then they have a rooftop lounge that currently is just for hotel visitors.
Oh,
I'm
very
really
nice.
hoping that
they
that's going to
expand that.
that's going to open to the
Randall
public.
wants access.
I do. When I heard that, Kimberly Walker's the name of the woman behind the project, and when I heard that they were going to have a rooftop lounge, I emailed her immediately. This was months and months ago, last winter, I think, and I said, Kimberly, this is exactly what the town needs. This is fantastic. I've always wanted this. And then I got there. I was a little bit disappointed when I found out that it was just for hotel guests, but I guess that means I got to stay there.
Yes.
Which I wouldn't mind doing.
That's the catch.
It is. The rooms look fantastic.
You'll have to have a staycation.
As our bartender told us, I believe, that the rooms are sold out through the Jason, our bartender last Sunday, told us that the rooms are sold out through the end of the year. Or are close to being sold out.
Wow.
Yeah. So it is Granada.
It's going to be a while before you see that rooftop lounge.
Yeah. Right. I'm not sure of the website. I think it's granadahotelandbistro.com, but if you just search it. And Granada means pomegranate. I think we've already talked about this
I think we mentioned that, yes. Yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted to mention that we did go have brunch there last Sunday, and it was well worth it. It was a really fantastic place. And any place that's just getting off the ground you have to sort of let the kinks roll through.
Right.
And there were a couple of those, but it was still just a fabulous experience.
Very cool.
Yes. All right, stick around, everyone. 9:04 the time. We are back in just a shake of a what?
A lamb's tail.
Of a lamb's tail.
That's what my mom always said.
I don't want to mix my metaphors. A shake of a lamb's tail with a lot more news and information.
Or a turkey feather.
Right. Well, our compass word is bird, so that fits perfectly. Eat, Drink, Explore Radio, Randall White, Patty Pyburn, back in a moment. It will be a while before we see the labeling of genetically modified foods, but that doesn't mean you can't be a smart shopper and head to the store armed with knowledge. Our California Love website has a list of local companies producing food right here in California that are GMO-free and, in most cases, organic too. Head to CA, as in California, LUV, as in shorthand for love.com. It's that easy to find our list of local companies with your health in mind. You can also find this list on our Apple and Android smartphone and tablet apps, which are absolutely free in the App Store. Simply search Eat, Drink, Explore and download it to your device. Our California Love website also contains a vegetable and fruit chart so you can more easily buy local produce that's in season. Also, fresh and local recipes from the farmers market. Head there, check it out right now. CALUV.com.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network, live every Sunday with the very latest food, beverage, and travel trends.
Fabulous.
Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
Good Sunday fun day morning on this Veterans Day, November the 11th. 9:06 the time. Great to have you with us. I'm your host, Randall White, joined by Patty Pyburn.
Good morning.
Yes. And hey, Patty, we had a list of places that are offering free meals for veterans.
We do.
You can find this link. And this is most of the places it's today, some of them today and tomorrow.
Right.
You can find this link at eatdrinkexplore.com. Just go to the program summaries and look for today, November 11th's program summary. We put it right at the top. It's not hard to find. And
then check and make sure your local location is part of the deal, like California Pizza Kitchen, Denny's, Red Lobster, Red Robin, Fridays, Olive Garden, to name a few.
Right.
There are a ton more.
And they have some upper scale ones like McCormick. I'm not sure if it's McCormick and Coletto, but there's a McCormick in there, and I know that their seafood and stuff is just. I mean, that's one of those
some good deals for veterans.
Yeah, and good, well deserved. And in many cases, you can be currently serving, but you will have to show proof of
service.
Proof of service, exactly. So, thank you to all the veterans out there. And you are listening to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. This is our Compass Hour. A fun spin, fun and spirited spin on the typical talk show. Everyone that we will speak with this hour is tied together with one word we call the compass word, and it is bird this week. So based on that word, we're giving you tips on bird watching here in California. The fall and winter months. You know, you think in the summertime, you think of like getting out there maybe and seeing the birds, but wintertime in California are when we get some species that they winter here.
Yes.
And so at any rate,
snowbirds.
Yeah, we'll have somebody in studio to talk about that. I'm really looking forward. Ricardo, who's working the video right now, that's what he has been waiting all morning for that
to hear about the bird watching. Okay.
Also, heritage turkeys. Okay, so you hear about like free range, you hear about butterball. But I mean, you hear about all the different types of turkeys that are out there. One of the trends for Thanksgiving is to go in the Wayback Machine and have a heritage turkey.
Is this kind of like an heirloom tomato, a heritage turkey?
It is. In fact, I just yesterday ordered our heirloom turkey, which doesn't fall directly under the heritage, but kind of in the same line. It's along those same
Can I ask where you got it from?
Yeah, at New Frontiers, which is a specialty grocery store in San Luis Obispo. And we ordered a 10-pound heritage. They are definitely more expensive. But we'll find out why they're tasty.
The reason for that.
Yeah, and all that sort of thing coming up. And then finally, brewing the perfect tea. And where birds come into play with this one. You'd think brewing tea and birds. What's the connection?
Yes.
Well, you'll find out in just a moment. But right now, it is time for the lovely Patty Pyburn and myself to put our heads together and see if we can stump one another with our trivia questions, all surrounding the term bird. And Patty, as always, we'll let you go first.
Okay, so what is the wild turkey, key being wild turkey population in our country today?
I didn't even think of wild turkey. That would have been a good question. The wild turkey. Oops, I just clicked the wrong. Sorry about that.
Oops.
We want the trivia. Here's the trivia.
Here we go.
Okay, now I have my
So
serious
1.5 million, 4.3 million, or 7 million?
I'm going to say 7 million.
7 million is correct.
Ooh, it is?
And you know where most of them are?
Where?
Alaska and Hawaii.
Oh, Hawaii.
They have extensive wild turkey populations.
Well, if I was going to have to be one of those two places, I'd want to be the birds in Hawaii.
You'd want to be the turkey in Hawaii.
I had no idea. I would have thought it was more like, I don't know, like Appalachia or something. I wouldn't have pictured them here. Okay. I mean, in Hawaii. The bald eagle was not Benjamin Franklin's first choice for our national symbol. Which bird did he want? This is so easy.
Could it possibly be a wild turkey?
Yeah, he said that they have a lot of redeeming values, and he went down the list. And
he said that they were intelligent, and I can't remember how else he described them.
But he was bent on it being the turkey.
Yes, he was a big fan of the wild turkey.
All right, kick down question number 2, Patty.
Okay, question number 2. Due to overhunting and deforestation... Oh, wait, I'm reading the wrong thing. Sorry.
Boy, we're...
Oops. Okay.
I had decaf this morning. That's my problem.
How many feathers do adult wild turkeys have? 1,000, 3,300, or 5,500?
I just always go for the top one, 5,500.
Jeez Louise. I'm going to have to start changing up my...
I know. I told Anthony yesterday, I go, Patty loves the number questions. You know, she loves...
She loves to do the 1 million, 10 million, or 15 million. And I said, you just answer the biggest one.
Okay, 5,500. You're right. They have 5,500 feathers. I'm going to have to get a little trickier with you, Randall White.
Well, that's a lot of feathers. You got to pull them all, right? Before you sell the bird. All right. What do you call a gathering of California's state bird, the quail? Do you call it a gaggle, a family, or a covey?
A covey.
Wow. Okay. Well,
a covey of quail.
It is a covey of quail. I thought family might throw you. Gaggle is
a gaggle of geese.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So, Randall, can wild turkeys fly?
I'm going to say that wild turkeys can fly short distances.
Wild turkeys have powerful legs and run at speeds of 25 miles an hour. Top speed in flight, 55 miles an hour.
Oh. They can fly.
They do.
55 miles an hour.
The domestic ones are bred to be bigger and heavier, and they can't fly. Right. Domesticated turkeys.
Because they've been domesticated to the point where they have these breasts that are like,
yes.
Like Dolly Parton trying to get off the ground. So,
that's a very good analogy.
Okay, so which ingredient is found in the Chinese delicacy known as bird's nest soup in order to give it its name? Which ingredient in the Chinese delicacy known as bird's nest soup gives it its name?
A bird's nest?
You know what? You're totally right. I thought for sure you'd think it was like noodles with an egg in the middle because it looks like a bird's nest, but no. The nest itself, and get a load of... All right, wait. If you think it's disgusting, wait till I read the rest of this. Made from a sparrow-like bird known as a swiftlet. The bird's own saliva makes the nest. Okay, so the saliva dries into these...
So it's bird spit. That's even worse.
It is. And then it dissolves into the soup and it gives it sort of a silky texture.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. Most of the nests are collected in remote islands in Thailand, actually threatening the number of swiftlets
We should leave those swiftlets alone.
Yeah, yes. Why is it always the Chinese delicacies that have these,
that are endangering something? Yes.
The rhino horn. Okay, among the most expensive delicacies, by the way, on the planet, this bird's nest soup. All right, Patty.
Okay. Are wild turkeys omnivores, carnivores, or herbivores?
Oh. Okay, wild turkeys, omnivores, herbivores. I'm going to say that they're carnivores eating like worms and bugs.
They are omnivores. They do grass and grain, but they also eat insects and small reptiles.
Oh, really? Like frogs and stuff, maybe?
Yeah, and lizards, I think. Yeah.
Gross. That's like along the lines of the silky
the
bird's
silky
nest.
soup.
You can call it silky if you want. I say slimy. It's more along those lines. All right. So that does it for our trivia segment, and I think Patty
that was a good round.
That was a good round. That was a speed round. We don't. All right, stick around, everyone. On this beautiful day, Veterans Day, we will be talking birding in California and why the coming months may be the best time to do it. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. I'm your host, Randall White, joined by Patty Fiburn, and we are back in just a moment. It will be a while before we see the labeling of genetically modified foods, but that doesn't mean you can't be a smart shopper and head to the store armed with knowledge. Our California Love website has a list of local companies producing food right here in California that are GMO-free and, in most cases, organic too. Head to CA, as in California, LUV, as in shorthand for love.com. It's that easy to find our list of local companies with your health in mind. You can also find this list on our Apple and Android smartphone and tablet apps, which are absolutely free in the App Store. Simply search Eat, Drink, Explore and download it to your device. Our California Love website also contains a vegetable and fruit chart so you can more easily buy local produce that's in season. Also, fresh and local recipes from the farmers market. Head there, check it out right now. CALUV.com.
McGruff here.
The crime dog?
Yep.
I think I'm gonna need your help. I've got an internet bully.
Okay, well, what you do is...
Maybe you could put a virus on her computer. Or a tracking device. Or a bug.
You don't have to do that, all you...
Or maybe we could get an attack dog. You ever see those attack dogs that can, rip a person's arm off? Seriously. Or like a SWAT team, a cyber SWAT team or something. Or like an army. Did you ever see that zombie army movie? We should get a zombie army.
Wait. All you need to do to stop an internet bully is delete their messages and never forward them on.
So, no zombies?
No zombies.
Bummer.
Delete cyberbullying. Don't write it, don't forward it. For more information, visit ncpc.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, Crime Prevention Coalition of America, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
I don't recycle. I mean, we can just find another planet for your kids to live on, you know?
Noted non-recycler Tommy Crenshaw talks about the future.
Oh, I can totally see finding another planet that can support life when ours fills up with trash.
Log on to YouGottaBeKidding.org and learn about all the ways you can recycle, unless you're into lame excuses like Tommy's.
Hey, recycling's just not my thing. Starting over on a new planet? Now that's exciting.
Don't be that guy, unless you want people looking at you funny. Log on to YouGottaBeKidding.org.
Across the nation, people are stepping up for their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the 6th leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat Drink Explore Media, your lifestyle information source. And a very good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the program on this beautiful, well, you know what my script says, a beautiful August morning. I clearly haven't
you haven't updated that
in
for a while.
Beautiful November. It is, November the 11th, Veterans Day, and a chilly start to the day, but we'll warm up, to low 60s in most places, upper 60s here in San Luis Obispo.
Mm-hmm. And clear, sunny, crisp, cool.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect pre-holiday shopping weather.
Oh.
No. It's perfect birding weather, really, to get out there. And our compass word for this hour is bird. So we decided to invite somebody from Audubon, California. And as it turns out, we had someone right here in San Luis Obispo that could join us. Andrea Jones is in studio. I thought for sure this was going to be an over-the-phone segment, and then when I saw the 805 area code, I was like, oh, wait a minute.
She's right here.
I'm going to find out. Andrea, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Great to have you joining us here. And originally, we were going to feature the Yolo Wildlife Area, which is right off of Interstate 80 between the Bay Area and Sacramento. I had done a piece on it years back, and I just thought, it's this little piece of land that people just drive past and don't even think about,
right.
But it's wonderful birding opportunities there. And it got me thinking, I had done that piece in the winter,
mm-hmm.
and I thought, you know what, that's a lot of activity to be done in wintertime. And is this one of the premier times of year to go birding?
It is, because we have so many birds here that spend the winter, birds that are breeding up in Alaska and the Arctic, and they winter in California because unlike the East Coast that freezes in the winter, it doesn't freeze here, and we have a lot of food resources in the winter. We get our rains, and the rains in the winter bring in a lot of insects, and those insects provide a food. So we actually are pretty abundant in the winter, and so we get huge flocks of migratory shorebirds coming here, spending the winter, feeding in our bays and estuaries. Tons of ducks, lots of songbirds spend the winter here. So it's my favorite time of year to go birding.
You see those clouds of birds that almost look like a black cloud, and they fly in formation. It's so bizarre. Yeah, I love it. What causes? How do they all know to stay together?
I'm not sure. It depends on the bird. Some birds communicate with each other with little chip notes so that they stay together. They talk about safety in numbers, and a flock of very small birds, if you're in a pack, you have less chance of being picked out of the sky by a peregrine falcon. Oh. So in particular, the songbirds and the blackbirds stay together like that because it's, greater safety.
Right. Safety in numbers. Now, one thing that's fun about bird watching is that you can incorporate it with getting outdoors and getting some exercise. So what are some cool places that you can combine those two activities?
One of my favorite places, if you really want to get exercise, is right here in Morro Bay, the Morro Strand. If you go out to Montaña de Oro State Park and walk out on the beach, this time of year, there's a lot of shorebirds spending the winter. Long-billed curlews, marbled godwits, sanderlings, snowy plovers are on the beach, so you can do a brisk beach walk and see a lot of birds. You can also walk along the cliff, the bluff trail at Montaña de Oro, and look out into the ocean. There's a lot of seabirds out this time of year. Loons are migrating, shearwaters are out there, and who knows, you might see a whale while you're taking a scan in the ocean.
Now, the bird families that you just mentioned, how far north do those extend? Up through like Point Reyes or even farther?
Yeah, the Pacific loon, which is if you go out right now, you'll see a stream of birds moving and along most of the California coastline, and the Pacific loons are coming from breeding up in the taiga and tundra, and they're heading down south to Mexico and just south of here. But you'll see them by the thousands just streaming by in the ocean. And the same with the shearwaters, who are actually on their way to New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They've got a ways to go.
Yeah.
I want to go to New Zealand, but I haven't taken the flight just because I don't want to sit on a plane for 14 hours.
So you've been hanging out in California, like.
But imagine if you had to do the flying yourself.
Oh my gosh.
Now, Patty, you used to live in Monterey County. Did you ever take the kids out to the coast, do a little birding?
You know where we would like to go is the Elkhorn Slough. And there are walking trails and some boardwalks that are really fun, and you can see all sorts of wildlife, but tons of birds.
Yeah, Elkhorn Slough is a great place. It's one of our favorite places to go birding. You can go in a kayak, or you can walk on the trails, as you said, or you can go out on the beach. And again, this time of year is really when you see the most birds there, because you have all the waterfowl in for the winter, and you have a lot of shorebirds. Thousands and thousands of shorebirds spend the winter there, and you can see them out on the tidal flats.
Now that's such a beautiful place.
Oh, for sure.
And you can also see a lot of sea mammals, so it's, one-stop shopping. You see a lot of things.
Now, we're such a dry state in the summertime, but in the wintertime, as you mentioned, we get the heavy rains. And in the Central Valley, there are a number of marshy areas that have been set aside specifically as bird sanctuaries, right?
Yeah. There's some great ones. Kern National Wildlife Refuge, which isn't a far drive from us here, is a great place in the winter. If you go a little further north, Merced National Wildlife Refuge, you can go to see tens of thousands of snow geese and sandhill cranes. Sandhill cranes come here for the winter in the Central Valley. San Joaquin National Wildlife Refuge. And these are small little pockets of what used to be a huge wetland covering most of the Central Valley. But these places now are where the birds really go, because they provide the water and the vegetation that the birds need.
And a lot of them are right there between, you've got 99 coming down one side of the valley and 5 on the other side, and they're sort of in the in-between. So it makes a nice stop where you could have a picnic, a little walk, do some birding.
Yeah, and another great thing to see out there, and I've shown you some pictures of these, are some of the raptors that you can see in the Central Valley, and you can see them driving to the refuge. Examples would be golden eagle. We have golden eagles breeding in California, but we get more of them in the winter, and you can see them particularly out in the Central Valley, and also the burrowing owl. So if you're driving along and you see a little hump in the ground and a pair of eyes staring up at you, it's a burrowing owl.
They're really cute.
They are so cute.
Yes.
We're sharing, for those of you watching us online, which you can find at eatdrinkexplore.com, we are sharing pictures of like the golden eagle and the owl and many of the other bird families that Andrea shared with us. Andrea Jones with Audubon California is with us talking about birding. What about people, now you have your hardcore birders out there. That's what you call it, right? Birding?
Yep, birding.
And so you have your people that really know what they're doing. They've got their binoculars and their guidebooks and all sorts of things. What about the majority of us, the casual person? What sort of tips would you give for people to get out there and get started in a hobby of birding?
I would say to join up with your local Audubon chapter. We've got 45 Audubon chapters in California. And if you go to our website, which is ca.audubon.org, we list all of our chapters, so you can find one right in your neighborhood. Here we have Morrow Coast Audubon, and they all offer birding field trips, usually on weekends, sometimes during the weeks, and a lot of times they're for beginners. They're more casual, and that's really a great way to start. Another really fun thing to do in California is do a bird festival. Go to a bird festival where for 3 or 4 days you can go on field trips all day, and there's a lot of bird festivals in California in the winter. We've got the Morro Bay Winter Bird Festival right here that brings in 500 people. But there's bird festivals all over the state, so it's pretty easy to find one.
I imagine once you start being told what you're seeing, you start to realize on a much greater level how impressive California is when it comes to the bird populations.
You know, have you been along the Bob Jones Trail? I see people there bird watching, and that gets a lot of variety.
Yeah, it does. That's a riparian area, so that area is probably best in the spring because you get a lot of the migratory songbirds, and they may be moving further north, but they see that patch of green vegetation along a river, and they stop in and feed. And these are birds that have been flying at night. Songbirds mostly fly at night and they follow the stars. Yeah. And then during the day, they suddenly realize, I just covered 300 miles. I'm really hungry. And they stop in these areas. And Bob Jones Trail is really rich for that purpose.
For people unfamiliar with the Bob Jones Trail, it really is one of the best multi-use trails in the entire state of California. It's halfway between Los Angeles and San Francisco on Highway 101 just before you reach Pismo Beach. And it is, you park there and you follow the San Luis Obispo Creek out to Avila, and there's wine tasting.
And what a great place to end up. I see why the birds stop there.
I do too. Andrea Jones with Audubon California, thank you for making the visit in studio.
You're welcome.
To share your love of birds and hopefully encourage the love of birds and many other people.
Thanks.
Thank you. Stick around, everyone. You're listening to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. We have a lot coming up, including heritage turkeys. That's what we'll be talking next segment. And then later, how to brew the perfect cup of tea. Back in a moment. It will be a while before we see the labeling of genetically modified foods, but that doesn't mean you can't be a smart shopper and head to the store armed with knowledge. Our California Love website has a list of local companies producing food right here in California that are GMO-free and, in most cases, organic too. Head to CA, as in California, LUV, as in shorthand for love.com. It's that easy to find our list of local companies with your health in mind. You can also find this list on our Apple and Android smartphone and tablet apps, which are absolutely free in the App Store. Simply search Eat, Drink, Explore and download it to your device. Our California Love website also contains a vegetable and fruit chart so you can more easily buy local produce that's in season. Also, fresh and local recipes from the farmers market. Head there, check it out right now. CALUV.com.
McGruff here.
The crime dog?
Yep.
I think I'm gonna need your help. I've got an internet bully.
Okay, well, what you do is...
Maybe you could put a virus on her computer. Or a tracking device. Or a bug.
You don't have to do that, all you...
Or maybe we could get an attack dog. You ever see those attack dogs that can, rip a person's arm off? Seriously. Or like a SWAT team. A cyber SWAT team or something. Or like an army. Did you ever see that zombie army movie? We should get a zombie army.
Wait. All you need to do to stop an internet bully is delete their messages and never forward them on.
So, no zombies?
No zombies.
Bummer.
Delete cyberbullying. Don't write it, don't forward it. For more information, visit ncpc.org, A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, Crime Prevention Coalition of America, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
Hello, this is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and I want to tell you about my new favorite discovery, Yosemite National Park. I recently went there with my husband and children, and we walked the trails to see the breathtaking waterfalls, admired the grand meadows, and giant sequoias. But the future of our national parks is uncertain. Many challenges face our parks today, from polluted air and water to development threats outside their borders and inadequate funding to protect our national heritage. That's why the National Parks Conservation Association recently completed a decade-long assessment of the challenges facing our national parks, along with proposed actions that will ensure our children and grandchildren will be able to enjoy the parks as we have. Our national parks have inspired Americans for nearly 100 years. As we approach the centennial of the National Park Service in 2016, please join us in helping to protect our national park legacy. Find out how at www.mpca.org.
At the American Lung Association, we're fighting for a day when we can all breathe easier. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. We're fighting to free millions of Americans from the addictive grip of tobacco and the devastating effects of lung disease. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air, we're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing, and we can use your help. See what you can do at fightingforair.org.
This is Betty White. I know you don't need one more thing to worry about, but listen, high blood pressure can cause kidney damage, blindness, heart attack, stroke, and you can have high blood pressure even if you feel all right. 1 in 7 adults has it, but it's easy to get your blood pressure checked, and you can treat it if it is too high. So don't worry about it, don't ignore it, just see your doctor and check it out.
For your free booklet, visit the Will Rogers Institute at wrinstitute.org and find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. Here now is your fabulous host, Mr. Randall White.
And a very good Sunday morning to you. It is Veterans Day, November the 11th. The time right now, 9:33. I'm joined by Patty Pyburn.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Patty. And so we've been mentioning throughout the show that there are a number of restaurants in the United States offering free meals for veterans, or at least maybe a portion or a discount, any number of things. And you can find the details if there's a restaurant near you and you'd like to go out there and take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Right. You can find that at eatdrinkexplore.com. Just head to our program summaries under the radio tab, and it's right there at the top for the November 11th edition. I made it super easy to find so that you could too. So many national names you would recognize. There must be one near you. More than likely.
And check before you go to make sure that they're participating.
Right. And then there are a number of, non-chains that you can check with as well. You can just ask, hey, do you have any specials for Veterans Day? Give them a call and find out. It's just
you never know.
The national chains, it's a little easier to find out because they publicize that, that sort of thing. So at any rate, our compass word for the Compass Hour is bird this week. With Thanksgiving in mind, we thought it might be an appropriate compass word. And just yesterday, I purchased a 10-pound bird for sort of a pre-Thanksgiving dinner because we'll be heading out of town for Thanksgiving, but I thought it'd be nice to have a meal with family, friends, and people that work here with us for Eat, Drink, Explore. And so we just got a little one, but we ordered what's known as an heirloom bird through Diestel Family Farms. It's Diestel, Diestel Turkey Farms. They're in Sonora in the California foothills. And they do all primarily free-range, organic, and they do what they call an heirloom bird, which is a bird that you would have found, I think she said 60 to 80 years ago, something like that. But it doesn't qualify as a heritage turkey, and that's what we'll be talking about this segment are the heritage birds. And we bring in Roger Mastrude with the Heritage Turkey Foundation, which happens to be based in our listening area in Capitola. Roger, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you. Now, heritage birds have really taken off, so to speak, I guess, in recent years as people try to get back to more heirloom type varieties of the foods they eat.
Yes, and the so-called heirloom birds are not a heritage turkey, as you said, and they're really one of the industrial breeds. It was the first one to be developed in the 1930s.
Oh, in the 1930s. Okay, so I was about right with that 80-year window that that I was guessing. How do they differ from the heritage? What is now the heritage bird? Is that what they would have eaten at the Thanksgiving dinner we think of with the Pilgrims?
A heritage turkey, yes, sure. The breed that was available at that time. I can't tell you exactly what they would have been. They might have been wild turkeys. But the Pilgrims and other immigrants to the U.S. did bring the modern breeds of turkeys, some of them, from Europe with them, and then they interbred with North American wild turkeys.
Interesting.
And so how does the heritage differ from what we're used to having on our Thanksgiving platter? I imagine they're smaller birds without as much breast meat.
Well, they have less breast meat. They get quite large. They were bred into really very carefully bred in the 19th century, and they were pretty big birds. For example, you could get a 28-pound heritage turkey, male. That's about as large as they get.
Mm-hmm. And we know those as a tom.
The problem with the industrial breeds is that they were bred to have a lot of breast meat, but also the shape of the bird was changed through breeding. The body of a heritage bird is longer. The body of an industrial turkey is kind of the conformation of muscles and stuff have kind of been pushed up on the frame, higher on the body. So the breast meat kind of sticks out and unbalances the birds. And then the birds get too big for a normal turkey skeleton to bear. Sometimes they drop dead. They don't normally mate naturally in unusual circumstances. They can, but they aren't. Industrial turkeys are all created through artificial insemination.
And this is all primarily just for our visual, because we want the turkey to look a certain way on the platter?
Oh, well,
That's
tell you the truth, I don't know. I think that what they did starting in the 30s, but really getting down to cases in the 1960s, they just bred for rapid growth by kind of retarding the development of the birds. Don't know whether you were aware of it, but one way to get a big bird is to preserve its younger characteristics so it keeps growing really quickly.
Oh, I see.
So is the advantage
birds? Pardon?
Sorry, Roger. Is the advantage there then to get them to market more quickly because they achieve that desired weight more quickly?
Well, the advantage is to save money on food.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because you have to feed an industrial bird less corn and soybeans to get it to market. Mm. It helps to be able to create them, grow them up more quickly. Do either of you remember the cartoon character Baby Huey?
Oh, yeah. Right, yes. As a matter of fact, I do.
Baby Huey was an enormous 8-foot chicken, but he was in diapers.
Right.
And you could say that industrial turkeys are Baby Huey birds because they grow big, but they don't grow up. Right. They are more, physiologically, they're younger birds than heritage turkeys. Heritage turkeys turn into what you might call mature juvenile birds. They start taking on some characteristics of adult birds, and that's why they taste better.
Oh, okay. So they do taste better.
That's what I wanted to ask about. What are the advantages? What's the preference for the heritage? Is it the taste? Is it the texture? What's making them a better choice?
All of the above. And also, we feel that there are three sets of values that we serve. And one is to get a good tasting turkey, and one that is more capable of surviving. For example, when traditional heritage turkeys get loose, they can survive in the wild, and you'll see that they have interbred with wild turkeys. That happens quite often. Industrial birds wouldn't have a chance because they don't even move well. They can't flutter as high as heritage birds. They can't run as fast. They are their integrity as animals has been kind of compromised by this single-minded breeding for quick growth and for what they call an efficient food conversion rate, which means that so many pounds of feed wind you up with so many pounds of meat.
Right. We're speaking with Roger Mastrud with the Heritage Turkey Foundation based in the coastal city of Capitola. Roger, I'm wondering if the foundation has any statistics on the number of heritage birds purchased over the last, say, decade and how that has risen or fallen. What's the trend?
Well, the history of my project out here is that it started around 2001, so there were no heritage turkeys being sold virtually in the year 2001, and nobody's keeping accurate statistics, but the best I can figure is that about 30,000 heritage turkeys are raised and sold each year.
Wow, from 0 to 30,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
And but that's up against over 200 million industrial birds.
Wow.
So it is a tiny, tiny percentage. And that's why the heritage birds are so hard to find.
Now, Roger, I'm looking at your Heritage Turkey Foundation website, and you were talking about how quickly an industrial turkey grows to its desired weight in about 18 weeks, whereas the heritage bird could be up to 30 weeks to reach their market weight. So that right there, it's a math problem. You know, feed the bird for 18 weeks or feed the bird for 30 weeks.
Right. Well, that's why heritage turkeys cost more. That's one of the major reasons.
So it's just a choice that we're making, and we want to think about how our food is raised and what's involved with that.
Well, I said there were three sets of values, and one is the taste of the birds. But the second is humane animal production, and all heritage turkeys that I know of are well raised according to humane practices.
That's great.
More than 99% of industrial birds. So heritage birds, partly just because our farmers are smaller and less focused on the absolute maximum
profits
or absolute minimum price.
Yeah. Well, Roger Mastrud, thank you so much for sharing that. We've given people at least another idea for Thanksgiving dinner. Think about heritage turkeys for you and your family. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network, and we are back in just a moment. Thanks again, Roger. It will be a while before we see the labeling of genetically modified foods, but that doesn't mean you can't be a smart shopper and head to the store armed with knowledge. Our California Love website has a list of local companies producing food right here in California that are GMO-free and, in most cases, organic too. Head to CA, as in California, LUV, as in shorthand for love.com. It's that easy to find our list of local companies with your health in mind. You can also find this list based on our Apple and Android smartphone and tablet apps, which are absolutely free in the App Store. Simply search Eat, Drink, Explore and download it to your device. Our California Love website also contains a vegetable and fruit chart so you can more easily buy local produce that's in season. Also, fresh and local recipes from the farmers market. Head there, check it out right now. CALUV.com.
What do your status updates say? You're learning a new language? Going all organic? Instead of typing your feelings, what if you could put them into action? By creating a network to help keep kids off the streets in a country like Armenia or in Honduras, bringing IT into the classroom, or on a farm in Tanzania, helping stem the world's food crisis by creating a sustainable agricultural program. What if every ounce of your being helped update the status of a person, and in turn they did the same for you? Would this be enough social interaction? Or is this only the beginning of something larger? Life is calling. How far will you go? Peace Corps. Get interactive at peacecorps.gov/game.
Hi, this is Rick Moranis. You know, some people are more careful about what they feed their cars than what they feed their bodies. They know that the wrong fuel can hurt a car's performance and maybe ruin the engine. But the wrong food can have the same effect on your health. Too much fat, too many calories, and too little of what's good for you can affect how well you feel and even lead to serious illness. So eat right. It'll help you keep running smooth.
For more information, visit the Will Rogers Institute at wrinstitute.org or call toll-free 877-957-7575 and find us on Facebook and Twitter. Wayne Brady for the Will Rogers Institute.
Hey folks, I've got something that will truly revolutionize your life. It's called exercise. It will get you from here to there, allow you to spend time with your family and meet new people, cut inches from your waistline, and improve the quality of your life. Even help improve your self-image. Sexy. So when you've got to choose between moving around or lying on the couch, choose exercise. You won't be sorry.
For your free booklet, visit wrinstitute.org or call toll-free 877-957-7575 and find us on Facebook and Twitter.
For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat, Drink, Explore Media, your lifestyle information source. Eat, Drink, Explore radio show. It is now 9:49 in the morning on this sunny, crisp California day, November 11th, Veterans Day. Chilly overnight. Another day where we saw frost advisories throughout the state. And you might have seen some ice on the rooftops, even in coastal California, which rarely happens. I mean, it does happen several times a year, but it's not something that you see very often. So warm up with a little conversation and perhaps a nice warm pot of tea.
You don't say.
Yeah, so Patty is a big tea orderer over online. She does a lot of online tea ordering, and the two of us, we would have our coffee in the morning, but we'd also have tea when we were anchoring the news together. And I know that she loves her green tea. And there's so many different kinds. And I had a favorite Chinese restaurant in San Francisco that I would go to, and I loved their blend. So I asked them what their blend was, and then I went to a local shop and I threw it together myself. It was a little bit of jasmine with a little bit of oolong, I think was the combo.
Okay.
And I absolutely absolutely loved it. So you're probably wondering, tea, I thought the compass hour is bird. Where do you get that? Well, as I found out doing a little research, apparently the people who harvest the tea over in China, when they see birds favoring a certain area and picking the leaves themselves, they know that that's
the place to go. The birds know.
The place to harvest because the birds know. So that makes the name of the company, Bird Pick Tea
I love it.
and Herb in Southern California. Janae Bagley joins us right now to give us some tea tips. Hi, Janae.
Hi, Randall. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning to you, and I appreciate you joining us to give us a little bit of insight when it comes to tea. Now, I would imagine like 99% of all the tea grown in the world is grown in Asia?
Absolutely. Most of it is grown in Asia, but you'd be surprised there's tea grown in all sorts of regions of the world. We as Americans just don't know it because we're such a coffee consuming society. We just drink coffee all the time. So it's wonderful to hear that you drink tea in the morning, that you enjoy tea, and you're out to learn about what tea can do for you.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And my mom drinks tea. I know that they watch the show here, and so she gets that kind. It's like a powdered Japanese. What's that called? Matcha or something?
Oh, yeah. Green?
It's green. Yes.
Absolutely. That's powdered green tea. You're congesting the whole tea leaf at the same time that way.
And so you get more of the antioxidant benefit.
Yes, it is like a superpower food. So imagine putting all your energy into that little tea leaf and you get all the antioxidants, a boost in energy. It's full of catechins, which is great for anti-cancer properties, and it's known to lower cholesterol levels and blood sugar levels. So it's awesome.
Wow, I'm on it.
Well, it's fascinating the way you, the name, the bird pick, and where it came from. So how is it that birds know where the best tea is?
Well, I believe that must be bird instinct, but we...
and you're just capitalizing on that.
Right? The name originates from a grandfather's story that's been passed down to us.
Oh, I like
and
that.
It's basically the birds pick the best tea leaves to nourish their body, and so we at Bird Pick try to do the same and pass along the great health benefits to our society.
What is the world's most popular tea? Is it oolong?
At the moment, no, it's actually green tea is the most popular tea.
And,
okay.
And what is the difference between green and black tea? The black tea has been fermented?
There is fermented black tea, but the main difference between green and black is that black has been oxidized longer than green tea has.
Oh, I see.
And so in that sense, the black tea has more caffeine, but at the same time has less antioxidants than the green tea.
Oh, okay. So the traditional British tea does not have the
same properties as the green tea.
Yeah.
No, it does come from the same plant, but from the oxidation process, it loses the amount of antioxidants that green tea has. But you do get a boost of caffeine, so maybe that's the good downside of it.
That's the trade-off.
Right.
So I'm looking at your website, and I have always had a penchant for those blossoming, the teas that open into a flower. Yes. I love your choices. They're just...
We have a photo of that we can share with the people watching online, yeah.
Aren't they awesome?
One of them's beautiful. It's like a giant flower blossoming in the middle of the teapot.
Those are hand-rolled rosettes, and so each of those are handcrafted with teas and encompassed in a flower. And I like to think of those as a tea firework almost.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Right? You drop one of those rosettes in a hot pot of water, and it takes about 8 minutes to fully blossom, and then about 12 to get the real steeping of the flavors into the water. But it's a beautiful, calming way to enjoy a good cup of tea.
It really is. And in fact, Janae, we're sort of leaning into that direction now. I was going to ask you, what is the best way to make tea? You don't put the bag into the water and then boil it on the stove, right?
No. And there's actually many different ways you can brew your own cup of tea. I like to think of it as to each his own. But the basic method that thing you want to keep in mind is after you steep your tea leaves in the water, you want to remove those tea leaves so that you're not drinking in the tea leaves at the end. And so you can use something like a strainer. Mm-hmm. A strainer is an easy way to pour the water and the tea leaves through so it catches your tea leaves. You can use a tea bag, but in the end you do have to take the tea bag out.
Because if they if they sit in the water too long, it gets bitter, right?
It does, exactly. So keep in mind that each tea has its own brewing temperature and its own brewing time. And the way I like to think about it to keep it easy for me is white tea, which has the most amount of antioxidants and the least amount of caffeine, needs to be brewed in a warmer, not too hot water. Whereas black tea and oolong tea, which has stronger caffeine, less antioxidants, can be brewed in the hotter temperatures of water.
Okay.
From around 190 to 212 degrees Fahrenheit.
And green would kind of be in between the white?
In between, exactly, Randall. It'd be around 175 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's interesting. Because I try to be
hot
good
water,
about
right?
it. Right. Patty bought me years ago a beautiful glass pot that has a spot in it for the flower to bloom,
and then you can remove it.
And then you can remove it, yeah, which is nice. I love that. Now, Bird Pick Tea is located. You have what, 3 locations in Southern California?
We do, Randall. Yes, we have one in Pasadena, Old Town Pasadena, also Santa Monica Place, and Westfield Culver City Mall.
Oh, you're in 3 really great locations, and I imagine a large chunk of your business comes online nowadays?
We do have an online portion, too, so please check out our website. We have descriptions of all the teas there, tea tidbits to help you brew the perfect cup. You just check it out.
Yeah, birdpick.com.
Got it. Thank you, Randall.
It's so simple. Janae Bagley with a Bird Pick Tea and Herb in Southern California. Thank you for sharing your tea knowledge with us.
Oh, thank you so much, Patty and Randall, for having me. I enjoyed it.
Make it a great day.
You too. Enjoy. Thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us on this Veterans Day. Patty Fiburn for coming in at the crack of dawn. We always appreciate that. Ricardo Teodosio for running the video. Cora Adama for getting everyone on the line. And Anthony Renaro for his help, as well as, can I fit this in really quickly? Preston
You've
Smith.
been listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore radio program. If you missed any of our segments today, look for them online or through our free Apple and Android apps. Catch you back right here next week.